Hello everyone, and welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today, we're going to be playing with oil paints. So I have some Williamsburg sap green and Italian Pompeii red. And I'm going to use these in the fashion of two painters that I greatly admire, Stuart Davies and Dennis Sheehan, where they'll kind of take these two colors, mix a brown / green / red from them, and essentially just like wipe on, wipe off a very cool landscape. And that's what I'm going to try to do. In front of me I have an 8x10 gesso board. This is from Hobby Lobby. It is a hardboard that's been gessoed with some depth to it. How deep is it? Does it say? It's probably like 3/4. No. Anyway, usually these are kind of half off at Hobby Lobby, and the smooth board is just really nice to like kind of wipe and go back and forth with. And then as my medium, I'm using Galkid from Gamblin. It's what I like using it. I use that and the Neo McGilp. I think that's how it's pronounced. Alright, I can throw this away. Anyway, let's jump into it. So it's going to be an imaginary scene, and you're just going to create it and have fun and relax. Now, with the two artists that I mentioned, they are really adept at this, and it's often tied into a modern tonalist movement. And I think it just has that feel and that vibe of the American painting movement from the late 1800s, where you can see the brush strokes and everything just ties together really nicely. I believe Stuart Davies in his videos utilizes brushes that are way bigger, almost kind of like a department store type brush used for, I guess, painting walls. And he shows their use in his videos, and they're really just awesome how he does it. So I highly recommend checking it out. So with me, just to blab a little bit, I did oils in college, and I picked oils up again, I guess about 2 years now. And I have had quite a bit of a break from oils. So yesterday I took them out and I started a still life, and that still life is going to take me numerous sessions. But this will be kind of the start of a landscape. I don't think it'll be a finished product or anything like that, but it's just fun. It's a fun application, and in fact, this process is so enjoyable that it's kind of a bummer when it's time to clean up. I use the shop rags that you can find in the automotive department, and I'm applying and wiping back to the white. I'm painting on a flat surface. Let's see if there's any glare taking place there. Just because it's the only way I could figure out how to film. Yes. I was working on yesterday's still life. I had that upright. I haven't really figured out the over-the-shoulder filming yet. I might leave some whites of the canvas for painting on at a later date. Let's see what happens. And I'm excited because I ordered a new telephone, and I'm going to use that to film. This is the current one is a Samsung Galaxy 8. The new one will be a 21. So the filming should be a lot better. Then I'm going to play around with glazing on top of paintings like this. It'll hopefully show up a lot better. I've got a really high horizon in this one. If I should lower it. You can see how quickly you can make adjustments with just the back and forth. And the cool thing about this is that it really requires minimal investment in oil painting to see if you enjoy just the initial application. You could probably just do this, I mean, I'm sure they did, the old masters, with just burnt umber. Or I think light red oxide, things like that. You'd create a grisaille, an underpainting, and then from there they would add local color. Ooh, I wonder if I want to turn this into a tree right here. It's just such a cool, relaxing method of painting and discovery that everyone should give it a chance. And I'm not well versed in the different oil painting materials, but they do have the water soluble ones. So if you're not feeling like using any chemicals, because even though this is, the Gal Kit has odorless mineral spirits in it, it still has, you know, a solvent in it. So if you're not wanting to expose yourself to the chemicals, you can use water soluble ones. And you could get two complementary colors. In fact, I have phthalo green and quinacridone rose, I think. That's what I have to experiment with. I believe I did a video with those. I might have just done a time lapse. And if you watch a lot of my videos, you'll see that I carried this technique over to watercolor painting. Yeah, Percy. I think I'm going to let this become a tree. And right now I'm just using a paper towel and just a bristle brush. I'm not sure if it's a synthetic. I wish it just says number 8, Filbert. It's the Master Touch Hobby Lobby brand. I'm sure there's way better brushes out there, but that's one of the places that really gets you on oil painting. is the brushes. Where oil painting, watercolor, the expense comes from quality paper. The expense for oil, well, oil painting is expensive, but it goes a long way. I guess it depends on your application. But the brushes are pricey. I'm going to eventually turn this into a background, maybe a far distant mountain. Maybe another mountain on top, like we could go really far back. We might have to turn that into a cloud. We'll see. This will definitely be a couple-day painting. The Galkid will take about, I guess, 24 hours to dry to the touch. But I probably won't come back to this for a few days. Tomorrow I'm gonna have powerlifting practice and then go tutor after work. Then Friday will be powerlifting practice, and Saturday is a farmer's market. The weather is supposed to be nice, so hopefully I can set up some paintings to sell. By the way, if you ever want any of my artwork or anything like that, I have a link down below in the description to my Etsy. I don't put everything up on the Etsy, but if there's ever something that you like, you could always message me and let me know. I was actually able to successfully mail an oil painting to Canada, which was really cool. It was a smaller size painting, 5x7, and I mailed it up to a patron on my Patreon, somebody who's been very supportive, and I kind of wanted to do that as a thank you, and also to be able to send something to another country like that I've done. So it's exciting that my work is in America and Canada now. So just letting the image form. And the weird thing about this is that I'm definitely going on the more, I'm trying to find the right word for this. I might say like a fantasy side of things, like maybe a whimsical type thing, where, or maybe the word would be abstract. Anyway, it's very loose at this point, the painting, and it's kind of like looking at clouds with somebody and saying, oh look, I see a bear, oh no, I see a lion, type deal, where you might be looking at it and saying, this is what I see, while here I have this growth coming up and this growth here, and we could probably trail these growths along and intersperse it with kind of a watery effect, and then would trail back into a far distant, maybe bushes back here, or distant trees, and then we'd have a skyline in the background. I think previously I would develop it a lot more, but getting back into oil, I kind of want to enjoy the process. I'm also being a little timid. I'm also listening to Percy, where'd you go? Let's listen to the cat climb in the background. You can develop the idea of the forms and then really let it take off over the next few days. I might have to, because I'm going to upload these to YouTube, I might have to do in the format of part 1, part 2, part 3, and, you know, call it an experimental video. Not really much in the lines of demonstration. We could pull out forms and that would help create. So I'm just pushing with the brush and just lifting. And that's the nice thing about this smooth gessoed board. You could also take the paper towel. These are techniques used by the aforementioned artists Stuart Davies and Dennis Sheehan. I could pull like that. The camera is pushing it a little bit more on the ochre side than the green that I'm seeing in person. But like I said, I do have a new phone on the way. I had taken out some Q-tips. You can use them to lift if you want as well, or to scrub back. I apologize for going silent, but it's just playing and splashing around. I'm excited. I think it's off to a good start. I do have a tendency to want to go dark and moody with things, so it may eventually well wind up there, but I don't want to push that too quickly. I did that with still life that was mentioned, where I poured out my paints and I put out ivory black. I know people say don't use black and whatnot, but I like it. And I used it in the background on the right hand side of it. I haven't uploaded any pictures at the beginning. I probably just upload it as a sequence, the still life. Once it's done, get that dark. I went for it very quickly. You see, I'm just going in. What I might do is scrub out what I believe is called, or referred to as, a bird hole. The areas in the trees, and then at a later date, and we color in the sky, color in between there. That'll add some interest amongst the trees. It's always fun going back to a medium that you haven't used in a little while. I think that helped. I have been researching something that I'd like to try, but I don't think I would have, and this is, you know, not a positive thing to say. I'm just saying I don't think I would have the ability or the skill to do something where here I am wanting to encourage everybody to try art. It's kind of a specific type of art, but I was also trying to decipher what exactly they were doing. I found some old books on it in the Internet Archives. Some books from like 1911, 1912. And what it was prior to the camera, or hopefully I pronounced it correctly, daguerreotype. Prior to that, of course, people are getting their portraits painted, and then there was a genre of portrait, the silhouette, which is something you've probably seen or maybe even done in an art class or at home as a craft, where you would have the side profile of somebody's head, you know, cut into black paper, you know, the silhouette. But I think it was, let's say the 1700s, 1800s, and then the camera came in and they had to start, you know, fighting against the camera. And it had come in as a way of being a cheaper alternative to having your portrait painted. But as I was looking at examples from the time period, you know, online, there was kind of differences. You could tell that something different was taking place with different artists. And there was an obvious difference of some being machine assisted or optic assisted when drawing them. But beyond that, there was people that had cut them freehand, and people that had cut them as kind of a negative and applied them. But then there was ones where there was a wispiness to the paper, and if I understand correctly, the silhouette was done, cut in black and white, and then adhered, I guess, whatever way they adhered it to their paper, and then an ink was potentially applied around the edges to soften the harshness of the edge of that silhouette, because there's clearly transparent portions applied in some of those. And if I could figure it out, but they're also done on a very miniature scale, like 3 inches at the largest, I think, in general, which I'm working small here, but it's hard for me to work that small. So, I don't know, it's something I've been looking into. Just thinking it'd be a fun thing to try out. Also, some had painted on the back of glass, and you know, the glass would be framed, or they would paint on the back of kind of domed glass, and from a distance, you know, there's a few mentioned this, when viewed from a distance, it would cast a slight shadow behind the silhouette that was painted onto the inside paper that was behind the glass, and that apparently made a beautiful effect. I was surprised to see a term pop up called bronzing. I think I found it in one location where they took gold ink and applied that over the black paper, over the black ink, over the silhouette. Apparently it was like never on the face or anything like that. It would be hair or shoulders or your scarves. But it was interesting to see that word bronzing appear, because bronzing shows up in watercolor when watercolor is heavily applied and has a leather effect. So I wonder if there's a relationship between those two terms. Anywho, I think that I've rambled enough. I think we have a good foundation to play on top of whenever it dries. So I'm going to leave this where it is. I'm going to sign off. I'll call this part 1, and hopefully in a few days I'll have a part 2 for y'all, and hopefully you'll follow along and enjoy. On that note, please like, subscribe, follow. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, let me know down below, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a great day.